Hello, hello. This is Melissa. If you're on computer, you can see me right now. And it looks like several of you are by phone. And hopefully you can hear me right now. I think I've got you all on mute. Pardon me while I'm just still getting used to our system and how it works, as I'm sure you are too. The good news is I am recording this on a separate system, so no matter what, you're going to get a video, a link to a video on YouTube where you can see and hear everything that follows. And welcome. My name is Melissa, and I'm one of the co-owners of Loving Superfoods, and you may have heard of us through, maybe you came in via one of our meetup groups, either our Quantum Health meetup in Dallas or our meetup here in Portland, Upgrade Your Health, or some other places I've posted about this event, or our newsletter. So however you heard about us, I'm glad you're here. And if you did not hear about us through one of the meetup groups, from our Dallas meetup or our Portland meetup or our newsletter, then please make sure that I get your email address at the end so that we can send you the link to the video. And you can just send an email to bliss@lovingsuperfoods.com and say, I want the video and here's my email. That works great. And if you just want to make sure, you can do that too. And Dan is here, my silent partner. He's going to come in and wave. This is Dan.
Hello.
So there's the silent peanut gallery back in the wing. So as you have questions, if I don't have an immediate answer, you might hear his voice too. So we're going to start with just a little bit of information about chocolate and using raw chocolate for focus. I'll give you some information first, and then hopefully that'll spark some things for you, of maybe some questions you have about using chocolate in your own life to upgrade your health, maybe questions you have about energy or focus or raw foods and superfoods and health. Any question you have, really throw it at me, and if I don't know the answer, I will honestly tell you I don't know the answer, and I'll research it for you. I'm an excellent researcher, so I'm happy to do that and get back to you. You're all on mute right now. When we start kind of our Q&A period, I'll tell you how to raise your hand for those of you who are on phone, and even for those of you on the computer. I may have specific instructions for you how to do that. And just if you don't know me yet, Dan and I started this journey with raw foods and superfoods about 8 years ago. About 8 years ago. And it was really just because we wanted to eat healthier. We wanted to have a healthier body. And to us at that time, healthy eating before we found raw foods and superfoods was like salmon and broccoli and mashed potatoes was a healthy meal, or a fruit smoothie for breakfast. And we went to a talk, and they were supposedly talking about raw foods, but it happened to be our supplier, David Faber, talking about superfoods, and he had chocolate Bliss to taste, and I had one little 4-ounce Dixie cup of it, and like all the lights went off. I went, ring, like wow, like all of a sudden the brain fog that I was used to living in just was completely gone, and I felt completely alert and focused and attentive and relaxed and just happy. And so that kick-started us into eating these raw superfoods regularly, and that's part of our passion and why we like to share it with everyone. So let's talk. Let's get right into it about why chocolate. What are the components of chocolate that make it really good for focus? And there are 3 that come up at the top, 2 that I talk about all the time, and a third one that's I've done some research lately. It's like, oh wow, that's coming up as well lately too. So the first one is familiarly known as PEA, and it stands for phenylethylamine. See why we say PEA? It's a lot easier than phenylethylamine. And PEA is a phytochemical. It's a chemical that's a part of the plant, and it's not found in all plants. It's found in cacao, which is raw chocolate, and it is also known as the love chemical because it creates the dopamine neurotransmitter that is what is active when we're in love. And in this case, the way it helps you with focus is that it's not helping you, like, not the kind of love like, oh, puppy love, and you can't focus and you can't think about anything but the flavor of love where you just love what you're doing so much that you have all of your attention on it, all your focus in it, and you could just do it for hours. It's that kind of, like, you're happy doing what you love to do. And so that's the neurotransmitter that is activated by PEA. And it seems to also, they've done some research on it, and it seems to reverse depression and increase your ability to pay attention and stay alert. And it's used often with attention disorders, people with ADD, ADHD, those kinds of things. They've been using, mostly actually blue-green algae is also really high in PEA. And a lot of people have found great effects from adding blue-green algae to their diet in order to have more alertness, more ability to control their attention, and less depression as well. However, blue-green algae is very green, so if you're a picky eater, you might not like the taste of it. It's a little bit salty. And cacao, raw chocolate, it tastes like chocolate. So you do the math. Which would you rather eat? And frankly, I like both. One of the things that we do is we put Vitamin Mineral Green, which has blue-green algae in it, in our chocolate Bliss. And so the chocolate masks the taste of the blue-green algae. So PEA, that's number one. That's the one of the awesome components that makes chocolate support you in your ability to focus. And then the other one that I talk about all the time is called anandamide. And if you know Sanskrit at all, ananda, that root means bliss. And so we often refer to this as the bliss chemical. So anandamide. And anandamide is known for regulating mood, memory, appetite, and pain perception, and increasing motivation. And this one, what will help you maybe remember it is it releases feelings of euphoria like during a runner's high. So you know when you've been running a really long time and then you hit the wall and then you get that second wind and you keep going and it's like, and you just feel that euphoria of all the painkillers have kicked in and you can go on for hours. That's anandamide. That's the effect of anandamide. And so that kind of alertness, the ability to stay focused on what you're doing with that high energy and a blissful state of energy. It's not... like one of the things I really liked about raw cacao is I used to be a coffee drinker and tea and caffeine. While it might give you a kind of focus and alertness, it's a very intense stimulated version that doesn't have a lot of relaxation to it. Like I used to get really jittery, my hands would shake, and even to the point where you can have kind of a nervous energy to it when you're using caffeine for stimulation and focus. And even the quality of that focus can be really intense. And the cacao, the way it is increasing your focus is much more like widened back and relaxed because it has this bliss chemical and the love chemical. So it's a kind of focus that's really, you're doing what you love. And it really supports that in your consciousness. So PEA, anandamide, and then the third one that's come up lately, if you do any kind of Google searching for like the effects of cacao, is the flavonoid epicatechin. I don't have a nickname for that. I wish I did. Maybe I'll come up with one. Epicatechin. And epicatechin has been coming up in research for increasing blood flow. And so there's a lot of data saying, oh, this is really great that eat raw cacao, it's going to help build muscle. But they've also noticed that increasing blood flow is also increasing blood flow to your brain. And that is helping you to increase your focus when you have more blood flow to your brain. So those are the three top components that I feel are like why chocolate is so helpful for increasing focus. And I like to do a little bit of research online, but I'm much more of a personal life experimenter than a scientific researcher. So I can just tell you that from 8 years of drinking chocolate Bliss, which has raw cacao in it, compared to when I used to drink coffee and tea, and Dan used to drink like Diet Dr. Pepper and the monster sodas, the energy drinks. And we've noticed that we have much more sustained high energy and focus and attention versus the like highs and lows, the extreme intense energy and attention and focus, and then the crash after the sugar is worn off or the caffeine is worn off. So that's why I really like it. I was also going to tell you about why it needs to be raw. So that stimulating quality that you get with caffeine and sugars, if you cook chocolate, it actually starts to turn into a stimulant. It won't be maybe as extreme as caffeine in coffee or an energy drink, but it does alter the properties of the plant. So keep it raw, which means that if you heat it, keep it under 115 degrees. And the other benefit of that is not only will it not turn into a stimulant, but you'll keep all the enzymes in the plant that help your body to digest it and all the nutrients. So it's really its natural state. And cacao has a long history, way back to the Aztecs and how they used it. The king used it to stay up all night and have many women all night long. Different kind of focus. And, I'm blushing a little. Anyway, but it was raw chocolate. They may have warmed it, but they didn't really heat it over 115 degrees. And it was the raw cacao, and they didn't add sugar, and they didn't add dairy, and that makes all the difference. And then the last thing I want to tell you, just to kind of pop another thing in your brain as you're thinking about using chocolate for focus, is making it easy. And raw cacao can be really easy to work with. We love Chocolate Bliss because it's a superfood mix. So it has the raw cacao in it, it has raw carob in it, and the two of those blend together really well. So cacao is really high in magnesium, which most of us, our bodies are severely lacking because of our food supply and our soil degradation. And magnesium helps your muscles to relax. It helps you have regular bowel movements. It's just, that'll be a topic for another time, the value of magnesium. Anyway, cacao is high in magnesium and carob is high in calcium. And the two of those nutrients together, it's easier for your body to uptake both of them when they're paired at the same time. So cacao and carob at the same time work really well. And both of those are in the Chocolate Bliss, along with hemp seeds, which are a perfect balance of omega-3 and omega-6 essential fatty acids and a wonderful protein source. And it has vitamin C in it with camu. I'm just going to look at the bottle there for a moment just to refresh my memory. Anything else I need to mention? Maca, also really good for an endurance kind of energy. It has sunflower salt for mineralization, MSM, which helps to open fluid passages, pure vanilla powder, which helps your body to digest sugars without having an imbalance, tocotrienols, which are really pure, pristine type of vitamin E, and yeah. Anyway, chocolate. We started calling it chocolate blissing. That when you have chocolate bliss on a regular basis every day, it makes it really easy for you to have the benefits of cacao and all these other superfoods without having to spend a lot of time in the kitchen or having to figure out all these superfoods or figure out what works. And like I mentioned before, it's really easy to add other things and kind of slip them in, like the vitamin green, or slip in something else that you're taking that maybe doesn't taste as good. The cacao will cover the taste. So we wrote a book called Chocolate Blissing, and if you go to the link that I sent you on our Loving Superfoods wall, you'll see a link to it. You can also go to chocolateblissing.com, and you'll see some information about the book, and you can get it on Amazon. It's an ebook, and I go into much more detail about why cacao is so awesome and the other superfoods that support it. And then I give a suggested regimen of how to do chocolate blissing on a day-to-day basis so that you can have upgrades in your health, and increase in happiness, and really create a quality of life that works for you. And I wish I'd mentioned this earlier. Actually, our belief is that really you just add raw superfoods to your diet, and you don't have to be a raw foodist. You don't have to make an extreme diet out of it. Just add these in, and then feel what else you want to do with your diet. You don't have to change anything else if you don't want to. And you'll see in the Chocolate Blissing book, I talk about the 4 stages of upgrading your health and what can happen when you just start adding really high quality foods and nutrients like these superfoods to your diet. Then you may find that adjustments naturally happen over time. And that's one of the things I love about it being so easy like this, that you just add it in and see what happens and see what your body does with it. And every body is so different, so really it's beautiful to customize it for what works for you. And that's part of the reason I wanted to do this Q&A webinar, so that you can ask me any questions you have about how to customize things for your life, for your body needs, for what's happening for you. That's part of my passion, is to help you with that. So I think that's all the kind of content that I wanted to throw in your direction. And now we'll just actually have some time to informally let you ask questions. I have a few queued up that people have asked, so if nothing's popping for you right now, you can stay on the line and just hear the answers, questions and answers. And if you have a question that you want to ask, and again, it doesn't have to be on this particular topic. If it's something else, that's totally fine. Then what you can do, if you're on the phone, if you push *6, that will be you raising your hand and saying, I have a question. Right. And Junie, you ask, what's the real benefit of the tocos? Is it just for the taste, like malt, or does it help green powders, Bliss, absorb better? I'd love to hear the lowdown on tocos. All right. So the lowdown on tocos. It's not just for taste. It does have a great taste. It makes things kind of malty, creamy, like frothy. Like we add a little extra tocotrienols to our Chocolate Bliss to make it a little more milk chocolatey. And so it does have that effect in the Chocolate Bliss. And then in addition, it's a really good quality vitamin E and support for glutathione and CoQ10. And vitamin E is one of those vitamins that is really great for your skin development. So it actually acts kind of like a sun protection from the inside out. So the more vitamin E you have, it's an antioxidant that's countering any effect from processed foods or fried foods that you may have eaten. And then it's giving your skin the nutrients it needs to protect itself naturally from the sun. Does it help green powders Bliss absorb better? Actually, it's not one that helps things absorb better. Cacao and MSM are the ones that are particularly the carriers. So both of those open fluid passages, which makes it a lot easier for nutrients to absorb. All right, and Kent, thank you for finding out how to, I'm sorry I couldn't figure out how to listen to you, but you were wondering if you know people who've been able to get off of stimulant ADD meds using these foods. That's a really great question, and one that I am happy to research for you and get back to you. I know I had someone who definitely used PEA, who used blue-green algae primarily to completely remedy her depression, and she got off meds for depression. And then I did have a client who was on some ADD meds, and then I lost track of him. So I'll follow up with him specifically and see where he went with it, and then I'll do some research and get back to you. Really great question. And most often, really for any kind of replacement of meds with superfoods, I'll give you a couple of tips that I've received from David Faber, who's done like thousands of hours of consultations with people. One is to talk to your doctor about how you want to get off your meds, or whoever your primary care support is, and it could be that it's you, but really have some concentrated plans around how you're going to get off the meds, because meds are so volatile. Like, I don't know which way they're going to go. And then take your meds and your superfoods at different times. You don't want them fighting in your stomach, and they will. I've seen that happen with people, that they started drinking Chocolate Bliss and then took their meds at the exact same time, and no matter which kind of meds it was, it really just, upset stomach and weird reactions. And so totally fine to have them on the same day, but, don't take them right after each other, like give them an hour apart or something like that. What else do I want to say about that? It's kind of funny. Meds are like the extreme version of what we do with processed food. So it may be a gradual thing, it may be a fast thing. So if you look in our Chocolate Blissing book, I talk about the 4 stages of upgrading your health, and you can kind of follow that as a general guideline of what to look for and what might happen. Medications just generally, and processed foods can do this too, the chemicals in them mask our inner body's communication and wisdom to us. And so, like the chemicals, whether it's in a processed food or a medication, create these like addictions and automatic responses that mask what's really going on. And so if you can have a period of day where like the meds are winding down and you can really pay attention, that'd be a great time to drink Chocolate Bliss. Or if you really want to up the dosage, add some blue-green algae, some vitamin green in, and then notice what happens to your body when you do that. And that'll be your way of experimenting for your body what works best. And you'll have a sense of, can I work without the ADD meds? Let's see. Jeannie, perfect. This convinces me to keep taking it, the tocotrienols. I don't get vitamin E or glutathione in my diet that I know of. Yeah, it's kind of a funny thing. Like, you know, supplements were all the rage for a while, and now superfoods are more the rage. And I really love the superfood version because in superfoods, you don't know necessarily exactly which ingredient am I getting unless you do some research, but you tend to get a more full complement of the nutrients your body really needs. And in this perfect, just meant for your body manner. And I'll talk a little more. I know, Gina, you had a question before of the difference in health effects between carob and chocolate. And that's a great example, is that you can take, I mean, it's actually, you see it a lot in supplement stores. They have all kinds of magnesium supplements, and then they have calcium supplements. And it's like you're eating basically coral shells in order to get calcium. And David Wolfe has talked extensively about this in his Longevity Now program, which I also highly recommend. It's great information in there about when you're taking these calcium supplements, you're basically adding these coral pieces to your body, and they just calcify around your joints and they gravitate down, and so then it creates things like arthritis or how do you say that? Atherosclerosis, you know, the hardening of the arteries thing. Anyway, it's like we're trying to take care of the body's needs, but not in a way that's natural, that's actually fully satisfying the body's needs. So carob and cacao paired together are actually giving your body the magnesium and the calcium in a manner that it's really easy for it to work with and to use, and then you don't get those calcium deposits. Let's see, what was the actual difference in health effects? Let me know, Jeannie, if there's another question with that or if I got that. You can just type your message in there. And let's see. All right, so if any of you, I haven't been tracking you entirely. If any of you just joined and you're by phone, you can raise your hand by pressing *6 on your phone, and then it'll prompt you to do one more thing. And I'll keep an eye if any other questions come up. Let's see. And I have a couple on the line here too. Let's see, Jeannie, I've lived on supplements for years, but lately taking magnesium citrate in powder form gives me a really loose stomach the next morning. It's a relief to know that Chocolate Bliss has a good amount of magnesium. Yes, you answered my first question. Okay, great. Yeah, I have noticed I don't take any supplements. I have not gone and gotten a blood test or anything like that, but I really love being in tune with my body and really feeling what I need. And if my energy is good and I'm able to do the things I want to do, I'm not having any health issues, then to me that says everything's working great, and keep eating what I'm eating. And listen to what your body is craving, because the higher the quality ingredients you put in, then the more your body can easily communicate to you what it needs next. And we proved this when we first started with David Favor. I asked him, well, why should we work with you? Why would we want to use your superfoods versus anyone else? And he's like, do what you want. Like, just add them in and see how your body responds. And if you crave potato chips, then eat potato chips. There's probably something in that your body needs. And if you can upgrade it, then great. And interestingly enough, I often did crave potato chips. And so I would sometimes have potato chips, and they became less and less enjoyable to me as my tastes for high quality foods improved. The fat used in creating the potato chips didn't taste as good. The salt didn't taste as good. I got used to the sunflower salt. And even after a while, the potatoes, I could tell the difference between organic potato chips and regular potato chips. Like, I can start to taste the chemicals in it because I kept increasing the amount of high quality nutrients and foods I was eating. And so I would sometimes satisfy the craving by having like a baked potato with butter and sunflower salt on it. And then I switched to flax oil and sunflower salt on it. And gosh, what did I do now? I still do potatoes sometimes. I do sweet potatoes more often. Like, you know, cravings can kind of come and go. So really, if you don't judge it, then you're not putting that judgment consciousness into what you're eating. And you can start to upgrade it, and you can start to find alternative solutions. Jeannie, I just worry about the quality of our foods, so rely on supplements, but the latest research shows that so much of them are either tainted or not potent, and you end up getting expensive pee. Yes, true. I'm much more now on just the superfoods, and yes, the instinct to eat salty or fatty foods has wisdom. Thanks for reassuring us to follow your instinct. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm happy that we can actually connect with each other and remind each other, because there's so many messages about what you're supposed to do for your diet, and your body knows. Your body really knows what's best for you. So gosh, I wish I knew, like, I see your name all the time, Tangela or Tangela. At some point, you're going to have to tell me exactly how to pronounce your name. Tangela. When I started using Chocolate Bliss on a regular basis, my appetite decreased. Is this normal? That is absolutely normal, and that's one of the cool things about Chocolate Bliss. The anandamide, in particular, mentioned is an appetite. It suppresses appetite. And raw cacao is really great for that. So it tends to stabilize you. So I actually use that to my advantage, in that, like, if I come home and I'm like super hungry, ravenous, I'll eat the whole bag of potato chips. I have like about 4 ounces of Chocolate Bliss, and it's just kind of takes that like hangry, you know, that expression, hungry, angry, so hungry, I'm angry, takes the hangry edge off. And then I'm able to really consider, what do I want to eat? What would taste good? What would really satisfy me, both nutrient-wise and taste-wise? So, yeah, totally great that your appetite decreased. And if you have concerns about not eating enough, I don't know. Let me know if that's a concern. I haven't really found that to be a problem for most people. Like, if like people who are concerned about losing too much weight, most often Chocolate Bliss just stabilizes you at your ideal weight. I haven't found it to be something that like overthins you or anything. Kent says to Junie, magnesium citrate is something some people need to ramp up, starting at something like a half a teaspoon and going up from there. I think you can't get advice. Yeah. I mean, follow your intuition. You can also do muscle testing on it, or add the cacao in and then see how it feels. The combo of chocolate and potato chips is heaven. From Judy. Salt is not the big poison that mainstream medicine keeps cautioning us about. Well, actually, table salt is the big poison that mainstream medicine is cautioning us about. And that's because table salt, the white iodized salt, has absolutely no nutrient value in it. It really doesn't have very many minerals left. And it's bleached, and it's altered in such a way that the iodine in it actually blocks your body from uptaking natural iodine. So it is a poison and something to be avoided, but natural salts like sunflower salt and Himalayan pink salts, those salts are the minerals that our bodies need. And particularly if you're not a young kid growing up anymore and you have an adult body, you're needing to just maintain right now, which means your body needs lots and lots of minerals. So sunflower salt, leafy greens, superfoods with lots of nutrients. All of this will help. Let's see. Tangela, I turned my sister on to Chocolate Bliss. She has IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. It changed her whole life. She can now defecate on a regular basis. That's awesome. That's really amazing. So, and yeah, that's a good question, Jenny. How much Chocolate Bliss did she drink a day? And I don't know how much she did, but I'll just kind of recommend for most people starting 8 ounces of Chocolate Bliss, followed by 8 ounces of water. Yep, 16 ounces per day. That's exactly what we do with Chocolate Blissing. And then another 8 ounces, or you can split that up, 4 ounces and 4 ounces. 16 ounces per day seems to be kind of an ideal fit. You usually go through 1 jar of Chocolate Bliss a month when you drink that much. She had to get it into her system first, yeah. So I also had a question that was sent in from Nicole. She wanted to know, does cacao, raw chocolate, help with focus, or does it help with productivity or other things as well? Like, I love this. Is it a one-trick pony? And it's definitely not a one-trick pony. Raw cacao is it's almost like a dump truck for you. It carries so many things through your system. So it opens up fluid passages, it helps get the nutrients to your cells. So it's great to pair it with other things that you're wanting to get into your cells. And it helps, opening that fluid passages helps to detox as well. And then, so we mentioned about it for focus and energy and that kind of relaxed, blissful state. And then high magnesium. What am I missing? I feel like there's something else that those are probably the top things that I recommend raw cacao for. Plus it tastes good. So it tends to give you a really, like with that relaxed energy. All right. How much Bliss is in 16 ounces? Is the 16 ounces water? I should read some recipes again. So, yeah, if you go to our website, our personal chocolate Bliss recipe is up there. Our travel recipe is actually for 18 ounces, and we put a tablespoon? 2 tablespoons in? 2 tablespoons, yeah. 2 tablespoons of chocolate Bliss in about 18 ounces of...
But that's for 2.
Oh, that's for 2 people? Oh, so for 20. So 1 tablespoon. I was right. Okay. Oh, good. I was right. A tablespoon of chocolate Bliss for about 16 ounces of water. Yeah, and we travel with it all the time. So highly recommend it. Michael, I'm going to see if I can get the sound to work with you. I tried it with Kent and it didn't work. So if it doesn't happen, then you might try typing in your question. But let's see if we can get you on the line. All right. Michael, are you there? Well, I'm sorry, but the sound just doesn't appear to be working on my end. I'll fix that for the next time.
I'm here.
Oh, yay! All right.
It helps if I take the mute button off.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad I got you. What was your question, Michael?
I had a question. What do you think about the barley and greens supplement?
Is it a particular brand? Barley and Greens?
Yeah, it's just like typical green supplements, you know, like stuff that you mix with water or you drink.
Yeah. So I like having a green supplement, and I often add it to the Chocolate Bliss because the Chocolate Bliss masks the taste. The things that I look for, so I use Vitamin Mineral Green because it's such a broad spectrum of greens. It's got blue-green algae in it. It's got greens from the ocean and from the land and grasses and all this stuff. And it tastes pretty good. Like I can actually use that in a smoothie on its own. What I look for if I'm looking at a green product is the way they produce it. Like, are the greens organic? Where are they coming from? How did they process them? And what else did they put in there? Because a lot of times companies these days are adding stevia, which I just cannot stand the aftertaste of. And actually David Faber even did some research once on stevia, and he has some concerns about it actually potentially having some neurological issues if you eat too much of it. And it's in so many things now, I just start to question it. So I'd look for like a broad spectrum. What are the qualities coming from? What else is in there? And if you like the taste of it, then great, go for it. Barley, you have to test that on your system. Some people are good with grains, some people aren't. If it's a barley grass that's been juiced and redehydrated, you'll probably be great with that.
One other thing, the cacao chocolate, like I see like Gerbo, I see different places like in Tom Thumb, it says 70-80% cacao. Is that okay, or are we talking something that needs to be more raw, more organic?
Yeah, the chocolate bar kind of things where they say 70%. Yeah, that's entirely different because those are cooked. So you've already lost a lot of properties, and they also typically have milk and sugar added to them because that is basically what happened. The Dutch, when they came into the Mexico and Aztec regions, and they found this raw cacao drink that everyone was just like loving over and the effects of it, they took it back, and in their society nobody would drink it because it was so bitter, and so they created the Dutch process, Dutch cocoa, and so they added milk and sugar to it so that it would be palatable, and they cooked it, and so it's really just to make it taste good. it's fascinating because there's a lot of research, people saying, oh, a little bit of dark chocolate every day is so beneficial, but really you're going to have such huge, way bigger impacts and effects by having raw cacao than having the chocolate bars. And then you won't have the milk or sugar added in, which are notably not so great for your system.
How do you get raw cacao?
Well, you got to get it from a supplier. I don't know if stores have it yet. And when you're getting raw cacao, if you try a lot of different brands, if you find one you don't like, it may just be the brand. Because some of them, the way they process the cacao, they actually have too much shell debris from the cacao bean in there, and that can get you a little jittery, almost like caffeine. So, like we have the Chocolate Bliss that has raw cacao in it. And we also sell the raw cacao that's in Chocolate Bliss. So if you want just raw cacao, you can do it that way. And then there's lots of ways you can eat it. So like we blend the Chocolate Bliss with a sweetener. We use vanilla, agave nectar, and water, and that makes it taste like chocolate milk. But you can also make like a candy. You can, if you ever make little like date balls are kind of all the rage now, like, or some kind of, like we call them beloved chocolate bites, where you mix Chocolate Bliss and some hemp seeds, and you could do dates or a sweetener and some coconut oil, mush that all together and roll it into a ball, and then you've got a little bite-sized snack. And then, let's see, you can also make your own, if you like a chocolate bar, you can make your own chocolate bar using cacao butter. And that will actually harden at room temperature and act like a chocolate bar. And if you, it's a more work, but if you really love to cook or you want to play that game, then I just recommend that you get our raw chocolates book, because it tells all the details about how to make raw chocolates, from the chocolate bars to the little candies, and even like a chocolate peanut butter cup replacement with raw cacao and
wow, that's great.
Nut butters. Yeah, they're delicious. Dangerously good. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to put you back on mute and so I can answer someone else. Thank you. Let's see. And let's see, we have, what has happened on here? Oh my goodness, you guys are having a whole conversation going on over here. Junie, Health Force Nutritionals is the gold standard unless someone else finds a new brand. Yeah, I do like Health Force Nutritionals, Vitamin O Green, and their blue-green algae, the elixir of the lake that they put in there is really good as well. They really have high-quality products, and that's why David, Faber, and I use them. Tangela, I also find that most foods are now salty. Is this something that happens as well? I have decreased my salt intake since drinking Bliss. Well, that's interesting. I'd love to know which kind of salt. I find that salt is definitely like something your body regulates. So like when we first found sunfire salt, I put it in the palm of my hand. I was just licking it off the palm of my hand, like, oh my God, this is so good. Yeah, table salt. That's great. It's good that you've decreased your table salt intake. That's your body saying, this isn't as high a quality as the other stuff you're getting me. Stop it. And that's normal. That's a really great effect of when you give your body high quality nutrients, it will automatically signal to you that it wants more of that and less of the lower quality stuff that's just masking. It's trying to fill that craving, but it's not giving you the nutrients. And it's fascinating how our bodies communicate like that. Like we get these cravings for things, and your body's trying to get a point across. If I need this nutrient bucket is low and I need to fill it, and it tries to communicate to you like the way to fill it, but if you haven't given it a lot of variety of options, it's just going to go to kind of the chemical version of it, because that's all it knows, and it's kind of what I meant, but not really. So using sunflower salt, using high quality nutrients will give your body that ability to communicate more clearly to you what it's needing in terms of nutrients. And salt kind of comes and goes. It rides waves. So if you need less, you just don't need as much mineralization right now, and that's totally fine. Trust your body. All right. Let's see here. And again, if you have any other questions, type them in, or type them in, and it's guaranteed I know I can see that. If you're on the phone, you can press *6. So Junie, is the Fiesta Mole comparable to the Bliss with similar ingredients? Or are they totally different and shouldn't be combined? Oh, wow. That's a great question. I don't think I've ever had anyone ask me about combining them. I now totally want to do that and see what it's like, but I'm afraid it might be really strange. So I'll take that as an interesting research project. They are different ingredients. And Fiesta Mole is another superfood mix that was designed by David Faber to satisfy the savory cravings, to give you a little break. And it's also really warming. Yeah, strange can be good. And yeah, if you have bland food. So I use Fiesta Mole like a seasoning. So I sprinkle on top of avocados. It's my go-to salad dressing. So, and really I'm so like, I so love to have things easy that I don't even make a dressing. I just put the leaves on the plate and sprinkle a Fiesta Mole over the top, and then that's it. Super easy. Maybe drizzle a little olive oil on top. But you can also mix the Fiesta Mole in with oil and vinegar or whatever you want to put in your salad dressing. It's a really, really great flavor. Oh, and Dan just gave me the heads up that Fiesta Mole will be back in stock on Thursday. Yay! So we'll get that up on the website soon so you can order. Yay! Anyway, the ingredients are a little different. So Fiesta Mole does have raw cacao in it. So if you're wanting it for focus, you'll be set. And it has hemp seeds and flax seeds, and then it's got this blend of spices. It's got tomato powder concentrate, and then like garlic and cumin and like kind of medium heat spices. It's not super spicy. It makes a really great dip or soup, like a gazpacho kind of soup. And I'll give you the secret insider tip. I never would have thought of doing this combination, but one of my customers did it, and I love it, is Granny Smith apples with Fiesta Mole. Like make the Fiesta Mole dip where you blend it or mix it with olive oil and water and get it nice and thick, and dip Granny Smith apples in it. It's really good. If it's nutritionally as good as Bliss, it's different, similar but different. So with Bliss, I don't have my Fiesta Mole list in front of me, so I'll double check it, but you're getting cacao, you're getting hemp seeds, you're getting sunflower salt. I don't think you're getting MSM in Chocolate Bliss. And MSM and vitamin C together in Chocolate Bliss is really great for cellular repair and rebuilding cell tissues and reducing any pain or from inflammation in your body. You're not getting any pure vanilla powder or carob, so the calcium piece is missing, but you might get a little bit of vitamin C from the tomato concentrate. So yeah, it won't hurt, but a little bit different. The other thing you can do if you don't want to do Chocolate Bliss and you just want to do Fiesta Mole, then I would recommend you get our Levitation Lemonade recipe and make that for yourself, so that you're getting the MSM and the vitamin C. And I think that would help you feel really balanced. Okay. Apples, worth a try. Yes, that one was definitely worth a try. I'm a little edgy about blending my Bliss and Fiesta Mole, but now I feel like I really got to do it just to see what it's like. So I'll report back. All right. Let me see if there are other questions that have been sent in, and if there's anything else you think of, now's a good time to post it or ask it. I think we covered actually, the one piece that we didn't cover is raw chocolate at night before you go to sleep. Because while it's not a stimulant, it is increasing your focus and your attention. And what I found is that if I have Chocolate Bliss, even when we add Rainforest Rush to it, like for even more increase in energy, the Rainforest Rush has blue-green algae and raw guarana and raw yerba mate in it, which also are super high energy adaptogenics that help you focus even more. And we use that on road trips. We use it when we're delivering the Avatar course and we're up for really long hours. If I have the Chocolate Bliss and that high octane Chocolate Bliss with Rainforest Rush in it, like maybe an hour or two before bed, I'm okay, especially because I am able to just not focus on the day anymore. So if you have a hard time shutting your mind off and just deciding to go to sleep, then give yourself maybe even more time, like stop having chocolate bliss around dinner time so you have plenty of time to go to sleep. We road trip with chocolate bliss, and so we trade off who's driving. And what has worked really well for us is when it's your turn to drive, you have a nice swig of chocolate bliss. It's coming out of a thermos, so I would guess maybe 4 ounces, 8 ounces at most, probably more like 4 ounces. And then you're completely alert and ready to drive. The other person can take a nap, and after a couple hours of driving, swap drivers, and you've been driving for 2 hours, you're ready to sleep, and you can totally go to sleep. So really, you're going to have to fine-tune for your body, because each body is so different, plus your ability to manage your attention, your ability to shut things off when you're ready to go to bed will make a difference as well, because what we found with the superfoods and these adaptogenics is they support where you direct your attention. And if you want more about that, I think we have a video up there where we talk about guarana and yerba mate and the test we did, where I had guarana in the chocolate bliss one day and Dan had the yerba mate, and then we swapped. And they're like night and day different, but balance and support each other. So really, like, knowing what works for your body and your ability to control things will make a big difference. And let's see. Jeannie, you say, I tend to want to take the bliss later in the day, maybe in an evening veggie juice. Usually I can sleep after anything, and it's good to know that bliss is okay, especially if your schedule is off. Yeah. And like I said, fine-tune it to your body. Tangela says I have to stop at 6 p.m. because I do add the rainforest rush. Yeah. Just answer your questions. Great. And the bee pollen. Yeah, the bee pollen is so good. And the bee pollen is also really great for energy as well. The B vitamins in it can really be a great mood uplifter. The Junie, the rainforest rush of the guarana, does it cause your heart to race? It does not for me, but I'll tell you the thing about, and if you're okay with the cacao and chocolate bliss, you'd probably be okay with the guarana. You can just do really small amounts. But the cacao is theobromine is the ingredient that's in it that's a xanthine, which is caffeine is a xanthine. So if you're really sensitive to xanthine, sometimes people are more stimulated by cacao than others, but you really have to feel what works for you. Yeah, if caffeine's okay for you, then chocolate will be fine. Guarana will be totally fine too. I find that Rainforest Rush works really good, and I do guarana and yerba mate together, which sadly we don't carry the yerba mate anymore. He hasn't been able to find it. So I wouldn't recommend that you do just guarana. That might feel too extreme, but the Rainforest Rush is a really nice balance that has the bee pollen and guarana and yerba mate already mixed in. He's got that, like, I don't know, I hope he has a really good stash of yerba mate for the Rainforest Rush, because it really balances it just nicely, so that when you're focused, you can focus, and when you're not focused on something, you can be completely relaxed. Do you have to worry about a possible bee allergy with bee pollen? I have not heard of that, but that's a really good question. I will check that out and see what I find out. How extreme is the bee allergy would be my question. And then do you use honey at all? Do you use any other products? Don't want to, okay, allergic to bees, but don't want to take any chances. I understand. If you could do honey, you can probably do bee pollen, but I'll double check and do a little research and let you know. All right, great. Jeannie she has a sample of Rainforest Rush, and she's going to drink it tomorrow. All right, and just go small amounts. So, you know, if you're skittish about it, like small amounts of those high-powered, high-octane superfoods can do a lot, which is great, because a jar of Rainforest Rush can last you a really long time. And I don't recommend that you do a lot of it. It should be just enough that you feel like alert, ready to go, doing what you want to do, and you'll know you've overdone it when you feel like, oh my god, I gotta clean the house now, let's do everything. That would be a good time to kind of back off a little bit. Like we had a friend of ours who, I don't remember how much of Rainforest Rush she was putting in, but it was definitely much more than we ever recommended, and she was like, I feel like I'm on speed. I'm like, okay, cut back. So listen to your body, unless you like feeling like you're on speed, but even then I don't think I would recommend it. So all right, any last questions before we go our ways? Looks like we're doing pretty good. I really appreciate all of you guys showing up and asking your questions and bearing with me while working out the, can I hear you? Can't hear you. All right, Junie asking Dan to come back on camera. Come say hi. Yes, hello. So if you like this and you want more, send me your questions. We're going to do a webinar maybe once every other month, and it'll be informal like this. Ask your questions, whatever's up. We'll give you some data, some content. I don't know what it'll be. And if you go to chocolateblissing.com, you can find our book that gives even more detail about raw cacao and how to do chocolate blissing. And yeah. Thanks, you guys. Really appreciate you showing up. And oh, if you didn't, oh, good. Kent, you are on mute. That makes me so happy. Good. It was a technical glitch, but it was, our combined user error. Now we know. Thank you. Anyway, if I don't have your email address, please send it to me so that I can send you the link for the replay of the YouTube video, and watch your emails for our newsletter and our meetup groups for announcing when the next webinar will be. And if you have questions or anything you want us to cover next time, let me know. Thanks, you guys. Have a lovely, lovely evening.